Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Sunday, March 19th, around 8 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. A large coronal hole is turning to face Earth, and with the solar polar reversal ongoing, this may trigger a large earthquake, as if we haven't seen some already. But the big story, record cold temperatures in the east could put recently sprouted vegetation at risk. Keep calm. It's freeze time. Austin to mark the coldest spring equinox in 30 years. And that's going to be on Monday. That will be their fun day. The chilly air that has settled into central Texas to wrap up spring break looks like it will stay for the first day of spring. Ding, ding. And it's going to be a chilly one. Freeze possible for many in the southeast of Louisiana and Mississippi. And don't leave out Tennessee. Freeze warning tonight across West Tennessee as well. And New Jersey is under red flag warnings. That means it's going to be heavy winds with a multi-day severe weather threat looming for the South this week. Let's take a look at that region. Severe thunderstorms possible with heavy rain east of the Mississippi and in the Mississippi Valley late next week. Specifically, the severe storm threat, which is likely, stretches from San Angelo to Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we could see some tornadoes and large hail. Buckle up. And buckle up for the epic flooding that's coming this spring, ding ding. We've got a story to tell you about the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi that used to form in California and very well may form this spring. Take a look at the purple. Those are regions with 150% or more snowpack. That is insane. Most of the regions are showing 279 in the South Sierras, 241% of snow of average, 200%. Take a look at this, 333% of average. And Utah, all record snowpack. In Utah, record pack in Arizona, New Mexico. Very few places are below 100%, just 3 regions, and they are approaching 100%. So it's going to be an epic melt season with really good returns on Lake Powell and Lake Mead. So good news for those regions that were once in drought. Most of California, Central California, 0 drought at this time. We shared that with you last night. Now here's the forecast. Parade of storms to impact the western U.S. The first in a series of storms is set to usher Pacific moisture into California today and then spread north quickly up the Pacific Northwest later today and into tonight. The heaviest snowfall is forecast for the Sierra Nevada with wind gusts reaching as high as 50 miles per hour, hours of powers. Lake effect snow showers will continue mainly downwind of the lower Great Lakes early today. Hey, here's some wind warnings out on the map. Take a look at this. Over half a dozen states with freeze warnings, and it is going to be a chilly one in the morning. Winter storm watch and warning through our region where we're supposed to get 5 days, consecutive days of snow starting tomorrow. Ho, ho, ho. And the Sierras are not out of the woods either. They're going to be picking up some heavy snow, and let's run that through. Here is our Monday morning as that system explodes all at the same time down from the Pacific Northwest into the Sierra. Do you see that? It's actually going to grow north and east at the same time. By midday Monday, heavy snow will have hit the South San Juans here, and the Sierras could be picking up at least 1.5 feet of snow by midday tomorrow. The system will continue through Tuesday and into Wednesday, start moving through the upper plains there. You can see South Dakota and Minnesota, say it ain't so, getting hammered, as well as some snow in northern Wisconsin. By the end of the week, though, that's the tweak. Another system will move through and bring that severe weather threat. Let's take a look at that. There it is. And this is Friday. And there is that severe weather threat exploding all the way up through Indiana into Ohio, potentially. So that's a little different than what we were showing. We were showing this on Thursday, but that's actually Saturday. So the forecasts are changing, but there is definitely going to be some severe weather late next week affecting most of the East Coast with a bomb cyclone potentially blowing out and leaving heavy deposits in the Northeast like a beast. Unprecedented snowfall, not just in the U.S., but all over. This is Sikkim, which is in northeastern India. Tourists are stranded as border roads come to the rescue. Take a look at the heavy equipment there and people onlooking. If you don't know where Sikkim is, it's right there, just north of Bangladesh and east of Nepal. So, many people stranded. Now let's talk about some more geophysical tragedy happening yesterday in Ecuador. Peru authorities assessed the damage after earthquake that killed at least 15, so the death toll has risen. And there is some spectacular footage.
Dios mío. No importa.
All that were destroyed.
Los daños que
Here's an example.
ocasionó el temblor. Esta casa que está aquí de construcción mixta, el semáforo que se encontraba ubicado en este momento está en la calle.
Well, the good news at least is that the earthquake was deep, so that kept the death toll low and the damage. Seismic update. We did have quite a substantial rocker in southern Alaska here, 5.4 at Anchor Point. Another interesting quake here north of the Kamchatka, 5.0 up in Russia. No other quakes of note. Unique quake out here in Canada near Notre Dame de Mont Carmel in Canada, 2.5, keeping it alive. But overall, a very low seismic activity. We do have some activity up here in the Norwegian Sea. And that might be related to the uptick in Iceland, where we see an uptick in seismic activity in Iceland. Clearly. But nothing imminent. There was a greater than 3 magnitude at Bartabunga, so we're keeping a close eye on Iceland like we do 24/7. And worldwide volcano news update. We've got Semeru volcano, volcanic ash advisory to 14,000. Couple other volcanoes of note over the last 24,000. We've got Popo being quite active. We also have a large explosion this morning at Krakatoa and Marapi. The glowing dome block avalanches and spectacular photography continue as we take a look at this massive coronal hole that is, well, going to be facing Earth in just 2 days. And then we'll see the effects 2 days later. So maybe by Wednesday, we could be in low-level geomagnetic storm from this huge coronal hole. And then that could kick off another large earthquake. We've already seen several because we're in that cusp of the solar polar reversal at solar max. Overall, flaring has been extremely low. We're now down in the B9.8 range. Not very indicative of solar max. This is more of a grand solar minimum pattern. And here we can see nearly spotless sun. This large sunspot group that was active has gone dead as the Earth-facing quiet continues. Another small spot here is turning in. But overall, an unimpressive solar max. Worldwide volcano news update. Oh, we were just there. Holy mackerel. Now, moving to the interesting story of California's, well, the largest lake west of the Mississippi. It was Tulare Lake, or Tulare. Will it be revived this year? Spanish soldier and California explorer Pedro Fages was chasing deserters in 1772 when he came across a vast marshy lake and named it Los Tules for the reeds and rushes that lined its shore. Situated between the latter cities of Fresno and Bakersfield, Tulare Lake, as it was named in English, was the nation's largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi. It spread out as much as 1,000 square miles as snow in the Sierras melted each spring. Ding, ding. Feeding 5 rivers flowing into the lake. Those rivers exist, but they are now bound in levees. When the snowmelt was particularly heavy in those days, the lake rose high enough that a natural spillway would divert water into the San Joaquin River and thence to the Pacific Ocean through the Sacramento and San Joaquin Delta, and then San Francisco Bay. It was a fairly common phenomenon in the 19th century, but the last time it happened naturally was in 1878. With the arrival of the railroad, the region has become an agricultural center, and farmers diverted the water from Tulare's tributaries for irrigation. As these diversions expanded in the 20th century, Tulare Lake gradually shrank and disappeared altogether after World War II. When Pine Flat Dam blocked the Kings River, its major tributary and levees channeled the natural flows. Once dry, the lake bed became the site of immense cotton farms. But it is possible, with the piling up of so much snow in the Sierras, that the dams and levees may be unable to contain the King and other rivers, and that this lake, Tulare Lake, would then be recreated in an instant. Now, other interesting developments in California. I can't get that title in there for you. It's a shroom boom. The hunt is on as California rains fuel a mushroom explosion. Unusual weather has created the ideal conditions for fungus, delighting foragers and researchers. So we could have a very interesting spring developing in California. More interesting developments coming from Christie's auction house. A rare meteorite auction is expected to fetch out of this world bids. And it's for good reason. Meteorites from Mars, the moon, the asteroid Vesta, and random parts of deep space go under the hammer at the online auction. Take a look at the lunar necklace. Expected to sell between $140,000 and $200,000. The lunar necklace. The auction house is currently hosting a collection of space rocks under the title Deep Impact. Lunar, Martian, and other rare meteorites. Many of the items have no reserve, which means prices could soar into the millions. A few are expected to fetch prices little more than $1,000, but a slice of Mars will likely see bids in the 5 figures. So, hello. What are they calling it? To Deep Impact at Christie's. Good luck. Now, some fantastic stuff is going to be happening in the night sky on March 28th. Mars, Venus, Jupiter to Mercury. Watch 5 planets together in the night sky. So Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, and Uranus will be visible in the night sky on March 28th, 2023. They won't be in a straight line, but more of an arc. And check the links to the article if you're interested. All the links about everything we talk about tonight will be below, including this paper, amazing, the Carrington Solar Flare of 1859. Now, if you always wanted to have all of the historical context of what occurred on this day, it was actually a 2-day event. I don't know if they get into it here, but it's a 2-day event, and this is all the historical accounts of what actually occurred. Antiquity and early electrical telegraphic and geophysical observations from the day. It's several pages and goes over every historical account from the Carrington event. So get up to speed, because another Carrington-like effect is coming soon. The only difference is we live in a technological world, and it will carry with it a much bigger boom. Speaking of bigger things, this dinosaur had a 50-foot-long neck, according to scientists. They compared vertebrae discovered in 1987 to more complete remains to make this new estimate. And how in the world did these giant dinosaurs live on Earth? It's 162 million years ago. There is the possibility that there were no oceans and that the entire Earth was much smaller and all crust. The gravity may have been different. But that's for a different podcast, especially part 2 coming up Saturday on Revolution Radio with Lee and I. And the part 1 that we've already done on the expanding Earth will be linked right after this video. So please go check it out. Also, Lee and I will be at the San Luis Valley Seed Exchange. And we'll be helping grow our local food shed by giving away millions of free seeds, free cannabis, and free advice. Lee and I will be speaking. I believe it's 11:30 Saturday afternoon at the event. And I'm calling on anyone that's coming to the event that wants to volunteer to help us man our booth during that time when we talk. Please contact me at oppenheimerranch@gmail.com. And you could really help us out. And we'll hook you up, if you know what I mean. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I hope you got something out of the video. Happy Sunday, fun day. It's about to be spring, ding, ding. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. Become a Patreon. Support the work we do. We love you. Be safe. And that is a boom.